Longevity is not just about living longer. It's about living better so that you can stay active, injury-free, and physically capable well into your later years. And that is very much dependent on building the right kind of muscle strength. So in this video, I'll walk you through my 6 key principles to build strength for longevity. But first, why should you care about being stronger? Why should it matter? I'll give you 2 major reasons, separate to living longer, because although strength is a major predictor of your lifespan, it's the health span benefits that are far more compelling. Number 1, strength dictates what you're physically capable of doing. And that has a huge impact on your quality of life. So you can think about your physical capacity across 2 buckets: the activities of daily living and the physical activities you enjoy doing. We need to be strong enough to push things, to carry things, to walk up and down the stairs, and more without stressing muscles and joints. These tasks might be easy for you today, but they'll be much harder for you in your future if you're not much stronger than these tasks require right now. And when you can't do the activities of daily living, quality of life will inevitably suffer. Then there's the physical activities that you enjoy doing. Perhaps you're an aspiring adventurer like me, and you enjoy being outdoors, hiking or rucking on the hills. Perhaps you're a seasonal athlete and you enjoy playing tennis in the summer or skiing in the winter. Or perhaps you have kids and you're just trying to keep up with them, and you'd like to play with them and engage in their sports as they get older. These are all essential reasons to be strong so that your muscles can handle the forces imposed on your body. Number 2, strength protects you from injury, thereby helping you to live life free from pain and remaining physically strong and capable. So injuries occur for one reason and one reason only. It's when a force exceeds the load-bearing capacity of your tissues. Said another way, stronger muscles, bones, and connective tissues can handle higher forces without soft tissue damage or breaking something. As an example, I've had 3 knee surgeries before the age of 18, and today at 36, I can ruck up and down hills with heavy weights on my back with 0 knee pain. And that's just because I've built up the strength around my knee so that I can handle those forces. So think of strength as armor that protects your frame. And to give you a sense of urgency, consider this. We can lose muscle strength up to 3 times faster than muscle mass. That means that you can lose up to 30% of your strength between the age of 40 and 50, and that rate accelerates with each decade of your life. That doesn't mean you're fighting a losing battle, and you're likely capable of getting much stronger than you are today. But it does become increasingly difficult to gain strength the older you get, and at some point your strength will inevitably decline. So be proactive and think of building strength as an investment in your future physical capacity so that you remain healthy and functional for the rest of your life. With that said, let's get into the principles, starting with the most fundamental. Get stronger across the 7 fundamental movements: the squat, the lunge, the hip hinge, the horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical push, and vertical pull. This is a functional way of approaching your strength training, and the benefits include building strength and muscle that carries over to life outside the gym, correcting muscle imbalances to build a healthy, well-balanced physique, improving mobility as you stretch and load those muscles through full ranges, improving stability as you challenge your core and smaller joint stabilizers. All in all, becoming a well-rounded, functional human being. Now, I'm not saying this covers everything, and you shouldn't train muscles in isolation. I think it's very important to target the core, hit those typically neglected areas like your calves, along with any weak links or lagging body parts that you'd like to give extra attention to. The key takeaway is to base your workouts on the 7 fundamental movements. And a good general guideline is to aim to hit each movement twice per week. In a separate video, I can go over my 7 functional strength standards so you know where you stand and how strong you want to get. Let me know if you'd like to see that in the comments. Next up, prioritize joint-friendly exercises. Now, you may have noticed that exercises you used to love doing are not as easy to perform today. Perhaps you struggle to sink down into a barbell back squat. Perhaps shoulder press leaves you with nagging shoulder pain. This is typically the result of a decline in mobility and stability, something we'll address later. Now, what most people do in this situation is continue pounding away and ignoring the warning signs that something's wrong. The smarter thing to do is ask yourself if you possess the ability to move from position A to position B and back again without compensating in any way. If the answer's no, then the juice is not worth the squeeze. Not only are you not going to load muscles well to get those strength and muscle adaptations, but you're also likely damaging something that could set you back a very long time. So for example, if you struggle with barbell back squats, you can swap it out for front-loaded variations like goblet squats and landmine squats that promote an upright torso, less strain on your back, and an easier way to effectively load your legs. And instead of direct overhead press, which requires 180 degrees of shoulder flexion, try seated shoulder press with the bench a notch down from vertical, and landmine press variations, which move through safe ranges. Remember this saying, there are no mandatory exercises, only mandatory movements. So if an exercise doesn't feel good for you right now, swap it out to a safer, more effective alternative. The next principle is really going to hurt the ego. Own the weight. If you're bouncing out the bottom of a dumbbell bench press, if you're half repping your shoulder press, if you can't control the lowering phase of a split squat, then you don't own the weight. This is a really important principle for building muscle and strength at any age. It's even more important the older you get when you really can't afford to get injured. So my go-to guideline to own the weight is to take 2 to 3 seconds during the eccentric phase when muscles lengthen under tension, pause in the stretch position isometrically for a split second, then be explosive on the concentric phase when muscles shorten under tension, then pause in that shortened position for a split second. So make sure you're factoring this in when you choose what weight to use for a given number of reps. This is a very safe way of loading your muscles. It's going to minimize stress on your joints, it's going to maximize tension on your muscles, and it's going to ensure that you build strength through full ranges of motion. Next up, include the low to moderate rep range in your training. Now, many lifters, particularly as they get older, tend to gravitate towards higher rep ranges and lighter weights. And it's typically the result of a past injury or fear of injury, both valid reasons that we'll address shortly. But here's the problem with sticking exclusively to higher repetition work. The reason that you can lose strength at up to 3 times the rate of muscle mass is due to atrophy or wasting of the fast twitch muscle fibers. These are your biggest and strongest muscle fibers, and they are only engaged when you lift heavy enough weights to stimulate them. So if you are a beginner or moderately well trained, sticking to the 8+ rep range is fine. You'll gain strength for quite some time. But there will come a point where your strength will start to plateau, and at that point you might want to start including sets of 5s and 6s so that you can handle heavier weights to get stronger. This will do a better job of training your nervous system to produce stronger muscle contractions, and you'll also increase the cross-sectional size of your muscles because there's still plenty of time under tension. With that said, let's address the known issues of recovering from injury or fear of injury, which might be holding you back or making you hesitant to lift heavier weights. So if you're recovering from an injury, sticking to higher rep ranges makes perfect sense. We have a lower load tolerance and load capacity and need to gradually expose the muscles to higher forces. This is a process that should be well managed by a rehab specialist or trainer that's knowledgeable in this area, because your loading strategy needs to be very progressive and very precise. And with respect to fear of injury, there are a few things we can do to mitigate injury risk. The first is to only perform your heavier repetition work on the exercises that you are very confident with your form. Then we want to make sure that we select weights in which we own the weight, which we've already discussed. And lastly, to always leave 1 to 2 reps in the tank so that we never compromise our form. Next up, strength train 2 to 4 times per week. Let's go through those options. So 2 times per week, full body, is a great split for a beginner or restarter. You can run this for a long time and get pretty strong, though you will find that your strength hits a plateau that's far short of your potential, and it's not really enough volume to maximize muscle growth, which is another important health and longevity goal. The next would be a 3 times full body split. This is going to be the best split for most people. It's a sustainable commitment, it's easy to recover from, you can get very strong, and you can also balance your strength training and cardio across the week so that you can simultaneously build your VO2 max. Functional strength and VO2 max are the 2 most important longevity goals from a physical health standpoint, and that's why I really like that split for most people. Then we have 4 times per week splits, in which case an upper-lower would make most sense, so 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days to manage recovery. This is going to be for the person that just loves to strength train. You have the time and the work capacity and recoverability to handle that much weight training. The only drawback is that you might not be able to really fully develop your cardio fitness because there's just not going to be enough time to dedicate as much time to cardio. Doing any more than 4 sessions per week is probably going to be detrimental because you're just going to live in a state of fatigue and recovery debt. It's going to be very hard to repair and rebuild your muscles. It's just not necessary to do that much. So 2 to 4 times, and 3 is probably the sweet spot for most people. And last but not least, address the supporting pillars of strength: mobility, stability, and cardio fitness. Mobility is about your joints' active range of motion, and it's necessary to achieve a range of motion or position. For example, if you can perform a clean hip hinge, then you can perform a Romanian deadlift safely and do a great job of strengthening your glutes and hamstrings. But if this is a movement that you struggle with due to tight hips, then you'll be unable to load heavy. It will just stress your spine and fail to load your glutes and hamstrings well. The key takeaway here is to make sure that you include some direct mobility work in your training to keep your joints healthy and moving well so that you can strength train safely and effectively. Stability is the ability to precisely control the position of your joints, and it starts with learning how to breathe and activate your core with an outward pushing force called intra-abdominal pressure. This skill is essential to engaging your core the right way. It protects the spine, it promotes mobility and strong muscle engagement. The key takeaway is to make sure that you include direct core work in your training, and very importantly, you are breathing and activating the core the right way so that your stability work carries over to safe, effective lifting. And finally, cardio fitness, which is about your body's ability to produce energy and recover quickly. In the weight room, the fitter you are, the more reps you can handle with a given weight, the faster you can recover between sets, and the more energy you'll have to push yourself as the workout wears on. Outside of the gym, the fitter you are, the faster you will recover, and that is when gains are made or lost. The key takeaway here is to do cardio at least twice per week on days separate to weights, and prioritize zone 2 training, which is essential to building your aerobic base. As you become fitter, you can include some higher intensity work to maximize your cardio fitness. There we have it, how to build strength for longevity. This is how I've approached my strength training for many years. It's how I think about building strength training programs for my clients in their 30s, 40s, 50s and beyond. It has transformed their strength and their lives. It will do the same for you. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments. If you'd like me to expand on any areas or topics, please let me know, because this is a complex and nuanced topic. If you'd like to just take the guesswork away and follow a well-structured guided program to get you stronger, fitter, and moving better, please check out my programs in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to hearing from you, and I can't wait to see you again in the next one.